Nothing incredible has ever happened in my life. After graduating from university, I got a very decent job with a high income. This was, of course, a significant achievement, but I devoted a lot of time and effort to this, so I treated it as a very natural event. I worked in the maintenance and repair of very expensive equipment. This work may not seem very interesting to some, but I really liked it. I liked to delve into electronics and do everything connected with it. I studied a very narrow specialty in this area, so a specialist of my kind was very rare, and therefore the work was highly paid. I traveled to various cities on business trips. I also liked it. I did not like to sit in one place. On such business trips, most often I drove my car. It was very convenient, but one day, one of these business trips turned into an extremely dangerous incident. Early in the morning, as always, I was going on a business trip. Necessary things were already neatly packed in a bag. I drank aromatic coffee while flipping through the news feed on my phone. A little later, I was already driving a car watching the rays of the rising sun. The road was waiting for me very long, but it did not bother me. It was not the first time, and I was ready to immerse myself in the atmosphere of the next trip. The road was almost empty. I did not have to overtake anyone. I could safely rush along the winding serpentine. I drove about a quarter of the way. Suddenly, I heard the phone vibrate. For a second, I was distracted to look, and when I looked up, there was some kind of forest animal in front of me, which ran out into the road just in front of my car. I got scared and jerked the steering wheel, from which my car began to wear all over the road. I couldn't level the car and went into a ditch. I remember the subsequent events very vaguely. Several times I tried to open my eyes filled with blood, but my body did not obey me. There was no strength at all, and I just completely lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes, I saw a bright light in a white room. I lay in the hospital room, feeling incredibly weak. A very nice nurse approached me and asked how I felt. I tried to answer her, but my mouth and throat were so dry that I could only cough. Soon the voice returned to me. I confessed that I felt weakness in my whole body. The nurse said that it was normal, a miracle in general, how I survived. I had a lot of blood loss, and if it were not for the people who drove by and called an ambulance, then I had very little time left to live. She smiled and congratulated me on my second birthday. This nurse's name was Alina. She constantly encouraged me and praised me for the results of my tests. I was on the mend. After my discharge, I suggested that Alina meet no longer in the hospital room, if she, of course, does not mind. Alina agreed with a smile to my proposal. On the first evening, we had a great time, had a delicious dinner, talked. I felt a strong attraction to Alina. She was my savior and at the same time very pretty. Our meetings continued. We began a romantic relationship. Before that, I had no such relationship. Girls, of course, were in my life, but I never experienced such feelings. It seemed to me that Alina was the only one and was ready to be with her until the end of her life. A couple of months later, we were already living together. Alina willingly agreed to move in with me. My house was quite large, and it was very comfortable for us to live in it together. The only thing I didn't like was Alina's work schedule. She could go to the hospital in the middle of the night and return very tired in the morning. So many weekends passed when we were going to spend these days together. Alina either had to go to work or she went to bed. It was very unpleasant for me, but I could not resist it. All the talk about her changing jobs came to nothing. She liked her work. I was always amazed at what one could enjoy in such a hard and exhausting job, and besides, her income was not large. But I never argued with Alina about this. Alina came home early one morning. I didn't sleep anymore. She muttered that she was very tired and went to bed. Fleetingly, I smelled the smell of fumes. It was very surprising. She was on the night shift. At this time, she had to have a lot of work, and you can't be in such a state at work. It was forbidden for them. I did not ask her right away. I decided to wait until she wakes up. After some time, Alina woke up very rumpled. I asked why she reeked of fumes. Alina said that in the morning when she was finishing her shift, she decided to celebrate the birthday of a friend who was with her on the shift. They drank just a glass of champagne but had not eaten for a long time, so the fume would be strong. Then she got angry and said, "What difference does it make to me? She is already very tired at work, and here I am with my questions." Naturally, this answer did not suit me at all, but I attributed everything to the fact that she must have had a very difficult night. It didn't end there. Alina came drunk more than once, and sometimes she didn't come home at all. I decided to have an explanatory conversation with her, especially after I also smelled the smell of men's perfume. Alina asked me not to wind myself up. She doesn't cheat on me with anyone. Just now such a period and soon everything will work out. But I didn't believe a single word she said. She swore to me that she loved me very much. But even after such loud words, I felt that something was not right here. I had to make sure personally that Alina was not cheating on me. On one of those evenings when Alina was getting ready for her shift, I decided to follow her. The clinic was quite large, and I could easily get lost among the medical staff. She left for work and I followed her. In front of the clinic, I put on a nurse's uniform and entered the hospital. Soon I saw Alina, who coquettishly communicated with the head physician. This ghoul literally undressed Alina with his eyes, and she smiled sweetly at him. I waited until it got darker when most of the staff had already left the hospital. Soon I saw a light go on in one of the offices. I quietly crept to the door. Initially, I did not see who was there, but it seemed very strange to me what was happening there. Just in case, I started filming with my phone, and suddenly I saw that it was Alina, and the head physician was fussing next to her. They sorted through a fresh batch of medications and talked about how much more they could earn on all this. They simply wrote off some of the expensive drugs, forging the expiration dates, and then clandestinely resold them. This greatly struck my mind because Alina always seemed to me very honest. Then they suddenly jumped into the back room. Soon I heard their heavy breathing and groans. Through the gap of the half-open door in the back room, I saw their half-naked, writhing bodies. At that moment, I didn't care what happens next. I just wanted to kill them on the spot. I straightened up and wanted to burst in there, but suddenly there was a loud cry from the guard. He yelled who I was and what I forgot here. I broke and started to run away. The guard chased me, but I managed to escape. When I ran out of the hospital, I decided to stop, catch my breath, and digest what just happened. My faithful, honest, and beloved girlfriend suddenly turned into a deceitful creature who constantly deceived me. I was sure this wasn't the first time this had happened. And all this time, without any feeling of guilt, she looked into my eyes, went to bed next to me, swore her love. Thoughts up to this point and the reality of what I saw simply did not fit in my head. I caught my breath and I couldn't calm down. I was on the verge of a breakdown. I nervously walked from place to place, tried to call Alina, but she did not pick up the phone. In the morning, I waited until Alina returned home. She behaved as usual, but was a little agitated. I asked her what happened. Alina said that someone entered the hospital at night, but the guard did not have time to detain him. I asked why she was so worried about this, but Alina could not clearly explain to me, freaked out that she was interrogating her again and wanted to leave. I caught her hand and asked if she wanted to tell me more. Alina pulled her hand away and said that she never hid anything from me, and I turned into some kind of nervous psychopath. I didn't question her anymore, everything was clear to me. But just to take and drive this rubbish out of the house was not enough for me. And I was already looking forward to the next evening. When it began to get dark, I was already near the walls of the hospital and entered there again. The lights were on in the chief's office. Without too much caution, I walked up to the office and pulled the door. This creature with a naked ass was sitting on top of the head physician, caught them in the midst of passion. The head physician pushed Alina away and caught himself. He began to threaten me, but I did not listen to him for a long time, but simply came up and knocked out this bastard's teeth. He fell and crawled into a corner, convulsively covering his face. My fist was still tightly clenched, but I straightened my index finger and pointed it towards the dumbfounded Alina. And you, lying creature, you will also get what you deserve. You both will get what you deserve. They did not realize then that the video I had filmed had already been handed over to law enforcement agencies. Soon they were arrested. It was a very high-profile case because it was revealed that they had stolen a huge consignment of expensive drugs. This couple went to jail for a long time. Since then, I did not much trust the doctors. At least I turned to them only when absolutely necessary and only regarding health issues. Conversations with doctors never touched my personal life again. I returned to my usual life again, but I was already driving more carefully.